Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. We have three on tap tonight. We got Motor City Mad Mouse Show, Sports Rap, and Fire Up. I'll be in all three of them, but I've had enough time to relax, and I have Steve Ballesteri joining the program, my co-host. We have a lot of exciting things coming up, Steve. Because I got a call from another person that wants to talk about a national anthem singer that sings a baseball song in three different languages. So I'll get to that eventually when we talk on our own. But the calls are coming, the requests are coming, and I'm going to be dragging you in every last one of them. Glad to have you back, SB.
It's good to be back. So Tuesday night was a lot of fun, and we covered a lot of topics there about college football, the NFL, everybody, and in between. So that was a lot of good stuff, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show.
All right, well, we're going to get going. We're going to be rapid firing most of it anyways, but we're going to talk about Apple technology, people. Apple technology. I don't know if you have an iPhone, but I've got one. But I know the producer doesn't have one. She sticks to the Android stuff. But nevertheless, I'm going to go over the Apple story for everybody. In 1997, Apple was 90 days from bankruptcy. Their Macs gathered dust while Microsoft dominated. Then Steve Jobs made one radical decision that turned Apple into the first billion-dollar company or trillion-dollar company. Ready for the story, Steve? Mm-hmm. Here it goes. All right. Having been ousted in 1985, Jobs returned to a struggling Apple worth $3 billion compared to Microsoft's $148. Apple stock hit a 12-year low. Michael Dell's advice, shut it down and give the money back to the shareholders. Jobs had a different vision. He shocked Silicon Valley by negotiating a $150 million investment from rival Microsoft. We need all the help we can get, he told the booing crowd at Macworld. Nothing like being booed, right? Okay. The deal bought Apple crucial time. With immediate cash flow concerns addressed, Jobs turned to Apple's chaotic product line, which included numerous versions of Macintosh printers and cameras. He was disgusted. All right, that continues on here. Jobs drew a simple 2x2 matrix and decided Apple would focus on just four core products: desktop and portable computers for consumers and professionals. The ruthless simplification raised eyebrows, but central to Apple's philosophy. In 1998, Apple launched the iMac, a sleek, colorful, all-in-one computer that shattered the market's beige box monotony. Okay, there you go. That's what happened. Monotony, everything monotony.
Monotony, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what we call a tongue teaser, an eye teaser, or anything else. Selling 800,000 units in 5 months, Apple was back in the game, people. Recognizing that Apple's brand had become stale, Jobs launched the Think Different marketing campaign in 1997. The initiative revitalized the brand, positioning Apple as a symbol of innovation and excitement once again. The campaign celebrated misfits and rebels, effectively reshaping public perception of Apple. As a result, the brand regained its reputation for being cool and innovative. In 2001, Apple ventured into the music industry with the iPod. There you go. I know a lot of people remember that, don't they? The iPod. With the tagline, 1,000 songs in your pocket. While initial sales were modest, the 2000 iTunes Store launch created a seamless digital music ecosystem. The iPod iTunes synergy was groundbreaking. By 2007, Apple sold its 100 millionth iPod, revolutioning the music industry. In 2007, Jobs unveiled the iPhone. Boy, don't we know about those. An iPhone, an internet communicator. This wasn't just a phone. It was the future in your pocket. I have one. I live by it. And I actually have two of them. The crowd gas industry skeptics scoffed, but Jobs knew he had changed everything. Apple sold 1 million iPhones in just 74 days, paving the way for billions more. The iPhone just didn't transform phones. It transformed us. It reshaped communicate, work, play, perceive the world birthing the app industry, the app economy, and solidifying Apple as a tech thing. But Apple wasn't done disrupting. In 2010, Jobs introduced the iPad, creating a new category of tablets. Despite doubts, the iPad became the fastest adopted product in tech history. Jobs also revolutionized retail with Apple stores, allowing customers to explore devices hands-on. The innovative approach drove sales, making Apple stores the highest grossing U.S. retailers per square foot by 2009. He ended OS licensing to third parties, a controversial move that initially hurt revenue, but Jobs believed controlling the hardware and software was vital for the best user experience. Internally, Jobs was known for his legendary attention to detail and ability to world-class teams. He brought in Tim Cook to streamline operations and collaborated closely with design chief Jony Ive. The results of Jobs' 14-year reign were remarkable. 1997, Apple was valued at $3 billion. By 2011, it skyrocketed to $350 billion, with Apple stock rising 9,000% during that time. Only 90 days from bankruptcy, Apple became the most valuable company in the world. Tragically, Jobs passed away on October 5th, 2011, before handing the reins to Tim Cook, but his foundation continues to propel Apple under Tim Cook. I'm telling you, Steve, this is quite a story, isn't it? Apple achieved a $1 trillion market cap in 2018 to around $3 trillion by 2024. Steve Jobs just didn't save Apple. He revolutionized personal computing, digital music, retail tablets, and mobile phones. And there you have it, Steve. That's the story.
As I'm sitting here right now, I still have my ancient iPod. I have it hooked up to my computer in case I want to listen to music while I'm working on my computer and don't want to tie up my computer with music. So my iPad or iPod is still right here beside me.
Right.
And it's old, but it still works.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, I was always a huge fan of their computers because I knew people that had them. I remember when they came out, that was revolutionary, right? There was no tower. Everything was all self-contained. I mean, that was like cutting edge stuff. But I never bought one. And because I was used to working with the Microsoft operating systems, which have always been terrible, but but I was used to working with those, and I stuck with them. Now, I actually got some free iPhones through the years. I did some promotions during Super Bowl years, with the Patriots, and so I got free iPhones, and I gave them to my wife and son because I've been an Android user forever. So I stuck with what I know. But my son had the one iPhone until the thing literally fell apart in his hands. I mean,
really? No kidding.
Yeah. Because he didn't want to get rid of it. He was used to it. He liked it. Now he has a brand new one. But yeah.
Great stuff. I think that what's really interesting is this. For the longest time, I owned an Android phone, but when my mother gave me her iPhone, I became hooked. I really did. It was just unbelievable to me that once you get to use these things, and I know from what I understand, they don't get as viruses as easy as the other ones either.
No. And see, I went with the Samsung Z Fold. So it's like, you see how big my screen is, right?
Yeah.
So, that's mine folds out into the screen this big, which I love. But, I've been a big fan of Samsung, forever. So I stick with that. But my son loves his iPhone. So
Well, I'm addicted to my iPad Pro. It's easy for me to get around. I just take it wherever the heck I go. For a guy that isn't
Mhm.
big on putting firing up computers, give me an iPad Pro and I'm good. It makes me feel like
Yeah.
I'm smart, which I know I'm anything but. Even though a lot of people say, "Why would
But
you even get
yeah,
on yourself?" Let's say the iPad Pro is easy. Charge the darn thing and you're ready to roll. So
yeah.
I
Steve
mean,
Jobs, he was
yeah,
brilliant, wasn't he? And yeah, he took that company from the brink of, like you said, the brink of bankruptcy. Now
right.
they're I mean, they are it, when it
Yeah,
comes to tech.
you ever been to those Apple stores before? They're unbelievable.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go there and it costs me a
I
lot of
keep
money.
saying the next time I buy a computer, I'm going to buy an Apple,
Yeah.
but I still haven't done it because as much as I'm, I get frustrated with Microsoft, and I do. I just I keep going back, but one of these days I'm going to switch. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what's amazing? I always say this a lot of times myself that when I go out there, I just it's hard for me to go back to anything else. It really is. And the way I look at it is when you get hooked on a product, you get hooked on a product. And Apple's been good for me. Can't get our producer Candy Evelyn to go ahead and get one. But she's learned a
well,
lot out of them so that she can educate her customers. But hey, more power to her. She's one of those types of people that can take her cake and eat it too. So she knows what an apple is because she has to try to get me out of these jackpots, which I'm in every 10 seconds. So, so do you or do you not have an Apple product?
I still have my iPod, and my son has an iPad.
Okay,
Um,
but you
yeah,
haven't made the switch to the phone yet.
no, no. And I've actually been given a couple of freebies, but I gave to my wife and son so they could get new phones, and
Oh,
I
so they
stuck.
got the phones, but you don't have it. You haven't made the iPhone plunge yet.
No, no, I certainly have not.
And you and Candy Evelyn, I'll tell you, you have something in common. You live and learn every time. So
I love my Samsung. So
there you go. Yeah, okay. And all right, Candy, get on here for a second and stick yourself on this show for a second. You're dying to get in. Give the thumbs up. Nod your head. Go ahead. Come on. All right, there you go. There she goes.
Steve, I have my Samsung too. Love it. Love
yeah,
the
I have the Z Fold that folds out,
I thought about
and
getting that one.
the screen is huge, and I absolutely love it. Especially if I'm watching some, sports wise,
Hmm.
because the screen then is really good size. So
That's awesome. Awesome.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
guess what?
Thank
We're
you.
going to be traveling in a few weeks, and one place we've been to, we're going to talk about the story. It's called the Norway story. People, let's go to Norway! In 1969, Norway struck oil. Most countries would have wasted it on corruption, debt, or short-term greed, but Norway did something that no one expected. And here's how it became one of the richest countries on earth. How do you like this show, Steve? We're really making it really interesting, aren't we? Because we're starting out with
yeah.
Apple products, no politics, but we'll have a few a little bit there later.
Well, Norway's one of the places I want. That's on my bucket list.
You mean to tell me you haven't been there? Really?
I have not,
Oh my God!
and I want to go. I want to go to the fjords. When I was in special forces, I was in mostly Latin America. So my friends who are in Europe used to go to Norway every winter. They used to do a big training thing there, and they all raved about how beautiful the place is, and the
Yep.
Northern Lights, and the Viking heritage. So I mean, I wanted to go, baby.
Okay. Well, let me give you some more information. Give you a reason why you should go. At the time, Norway was a small fishing nation, no flashy industries, no real global power, just a quiet economy and a cautious population. Then came the North Sea discovery, people. Other countries hit oil and collapse. They call it the resource curse, spending spree, corruption, and economic dependence. Norway saw the trap and avoided it. And so now you have Stand Oil. Instead of privatizing everything. Norway kept control. That launched Statoil, a national oil company, and made sure profits stayed with the people. Then came the boldest move: save the money, don't spend it all. Boy, that's the problem we should all have, right? Don't let oil destroy the rest of the economy. In 1990, Norway created the government pension fund, a sovereign wealth fund powered by oil revenue, not for today, for the future. The strategy: invest globally, stock, bonds, real estate, spend only a tiny share of the returns, never touch the core. I'll say I like that advice. Net discipline work today. The fund is worth over 1.8 trillion. It owns stakes in 9,000 plus companies, including Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. But there's a strict rule: only 3% of the returns can be used yearly. No political grabs, no emergency splurges. Long term always wins, and it's all public. Every Norwegian can see where the money is. The transparency builds trust and keeps corruption out. Oil won't last forever, but the fund will. Norway turned a temporary resource into a permanent national wealth. They didn't use it to get rich fast. Okay, and there's Candy putting in some pictures. Okay,
there you go, man. See, that's me.
Yeah, that is.
That's me up on top there with Ragnar Lothbrok.
That's me standing up top doing my Rocky pose.
Yeah.
They didn't use it to get rich fast. They use it to stay rich. Today, Norway is the wealthiest and most equal countries on earth. A rare story where oil created wealth, not corruption. There you go, Steve. That's the Norway oil, and it all comes down to what? What do we call it? Stat oil. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it was an extremely smart decision on their part, right? They did the right thing, and they've approached it the right way. I mean, now, they're all producing country, but you wouldn't know it by looking at, the landscape up there, and that's what draws me to it every time. I mean, that is that and Iceland are the two places that are on my bucket list. I want to go.
All right, Candy, you were in Norway. Norway, your thoughts? I love the place. I'll tell you one thing: we got to see it from a cruise in lots of different directions, and I'm telling you, I'm hooked.
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes, I'm hooked, but I also would say I'm not so sure I'd want to see it in the winter months when there is no daylight. Yes, this is beautiful. This was end of June, and honestly, to be honest, it was wild to think that they only have like 3 or 4 hours of dark at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see it. Now, we weren't there to see the northern lights. That wasn't because it stays light so much that they don't have.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be there at a different time for the northern lights. But look, it's June and it's beautiful, and yet you can still see snow up on the top of some of these.
Yeah,
but
that's
yes.
okay.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
And I'm not a fan of snow. That's why I moved to Florida. But
Right.
but if in a situation and in a place like that, it fits, and I'd be just fine with it in the middle of June. And like I said, I'll be standing on top of that snow peak up there, looking for Ragnar Lothbrok and Floki. So
Yep, beautiful country.
Yeah, I love Norway. Are you kidding? I'm hooked on that. Well, you talked about Iceland, Steve. What a great segue to what I'm going to tell you, but this is about the most insane thing I've ever thought about talking about, but then again, I'm used to that anyway. You know, talk about Iceland is the only country in Western Europe, people, without a McDonald's.
really,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
No, that's what you come on these shows for. What did
See,
you don't know?
every
You will
week
know.
I come in here and I learn something new.
I'm telling you, that's
Not that I would be looking for a McDonald's in, Iceland, but it's nice to know that I don't have to be looking for one, right?
seek it, but you won't find it there
That's
anyway.
right.
If you, I'll tell you,
If I
I'm
go to
used to
Iceland, I don't know if I want to eat at McDonald's if I go to Iceland.
but guess what? You don't have to. They're not there.
Right.
You know,
It seems to me that, like growing up, one of my big things as a kid were the pyramids of Egypt.
Oh, really? No,
and when I got to go to the pyramids, I was like the proverbial kid in the candy store. I was so excited because all my life I had wanted to see them. So we get to the pyramids, and I'm standing right in front of the Sphinx. I was looking right at the Sphinx,
right,
taking a picture. And my partner Tom, he was a Navy SEAL, and Tom's a riot, right? Actually, he works for the head of Microsoft, so he's one of the security dudes there. But anyway, Tom goes, "You're going to be really bummed," and I go, "Oh, what?" Because I'm taking a picture of the Sphinx. He goes, "Turn around." And right across the street from the Sphinx, literally, was a Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Pizza Hut.
No way.
And it blew it completely out of the water for me. Because
Really?
I'm like, I did not go all the way to the desert to see the pyramids to look at Colonel Sanders. I'm sorry. I didn't go there for that. And it totally bummed me out. It ruined the experience. And my partner Tom and I were laughing about it because I was like, I am so bummed out right now. Then as he's laughing, and he's like, "Well, I'll be right back because I'm going to get a slice and come back."
Yeah, no, I don't think I can eat Kentucky Fried Chicken overseas. I don't even eat it locally because my doctor said don't do it, and I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. But anyway,
in fact, on another trip, I was in Kingdom of Jordan, and we ran into Popeyes, and my partner and I, we ate 2 buckets of chicken that night because we had been away from home for a while, and it was just nice to see a Popeyes fried chicken, and we polished off 2 buckets of chicken, my friend.
Well, don't worry. Now that you brought up Popeyes, I'll have a good story on next week's edition of the Motor City Madness.
Oh yeah, we didn't eat healthy that night, to say the least.
Well, I can tell you a story right now on Popeyes fried chicken when I went to the 1982 Final Four in New Orleans, where I got hammered with hurricanes, and I ended up eating a Popeyes fried chicken with that spicy chicken. There was no hangover. It was complete fire in my mouth. So, yeah, I what's my part about Iceland is now my brother Lonnie, who's never been there before, had to dive into his pocket after I went, and I beat him there first. All right, so, but that's okay. No McDonald's, no Big Mac.
No McDonald's in Iceland. Okay, well, if I ever make it there, I won't look for it.
Well, it's good because you won't find it. Okay. All right, but one guy you will find, obviously, coach's first year there was Doug Marrone, was hired to work with Mike Vrabel on the offensive line with the New England Patriots. How did that work out in New England with Doug Marrone?
Doug Marrone's a fantastic offensive line coach. I mean, he has head coaching experience.
Right. I worked with him, actually.
Yeah, and he's, by all accounts, he's just a really great guy. And the players really related to him. And, look, they had 4 new players on the Patriots offensive line last year, including 2 rookies on the left-hand side. And they still made it to the Super Bowl. Now their offensive line was beat up in the Super Bowl, and we know what happened. But that doesn't take away anything for what Doug Marrone did.
Right.
In the entire season, I think he's a fantastic offensive line coach, and he was such a great get because you have a guy with head coaching experience, and that the players all relate to that. I thought it was a great hire.
Well, I worked with him in Jacksonville with the Jaguars. I thought he did a good job. I think he took him to a conference championship game only to lose to none other than the Patriots. So, with all due respect, Doug Marrone's a good coach.
That play at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, he came within one play at the end of the game from getting the Jaguars to the Super Bowl. So, right. I like Doug. Not only that, he's just a good person, too. There's a guy that knows his football and knows offensive line really, really well. And he's just one of those types of people, in my opinion, that to me is just a heck of a football coach. He's been a head coach a couple times, and New England, I think, is really thankful that they should have them. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? I got one more story I want to get to, but this one's related to the NBA. And it's called the Micky Arison story from Carnival Cruise Lines to the Miami Heat. How many stories can you have in one day? Well, I'm kind of making it easy, everybody, before you hit the politics. There is a little bit of that tonight, too. But I'm trying to make sure that we sail into the easy stuff so we can get to the dog and dirty, although it won't be too bad tonight. But let's go over Micky Arison because it's a pretty cool story. Micky Arison's father founded Carnival Cruise Lines in 1972. Micky could have walked into a corner office. Instead, he started as a reservation agent, making $6 an hour. My goodness, a lot of money. Okay. Answered phones, took bookings, worked every department, proved himself for years before becoming CEO. Built Carnival into the world's largest cruise operator with 7.6 billion. The billionaire who started at the bottom. Boy, that's a good way to do it. So let's go over the story. Miami in 1972, Ted Arison founds Carnival Cruise Lines, one ship, the Mardi Gras. Never been to Mardi Gras, but I've heard of it, right? See, the Mardi Gras is a good thing. Okay. A dream of making cruise fun and affordable. His son Micky is a teenager watching it all unfold. The business struggles at first. So let's continue to go. Young Micky could take the easy path, is what he could do. Executive job handed to him, corner office, big salary. That's what most founders' kids do, right? No, not this guy. To skip the hard work, jump to the top, Micky chooses differently. Micky joins Carnival as a reservation agent. As I said, $6 an hour, sits in a cubicle. If you've ever sat in a cubicle, it has what you call claustrophobia written all over it. I hated it back in the day. Whereas a headset, well, I don't mind wearing a headset. That's okay. Doing this is okay. Doing that stuff, no. But answers phone calls, takes bookings, flight, cabin, options to strangers. The founder's son isn't just another employee. Is just another employee. Excuse me, people. He learns the business from the bottom up. How reservations work, what customers ask about, pricing, cabin type, route. Every detail of operations, no shortcuts, no special treatment, just work. Yes, people, there are people with work ethics out there. Then Micky moves through different departments, sales, marketing, operations, finance, spending time in each one, understanding how they connect, building credibility with employees. They respect him because he earned it. Through the 1980s, Carnival grows steadily. I've actually been on the Carnival Cruise Line pretty good.
I was on one in December over Christmas.
Oh, there you go. That's what we're buying into Carnival here. But more ships, more routes, the fun ships, brand takes off, affordable cruising for middle-class families, not just the wealthy anymore. Micky rises with the company. In 1979, at 30 years old, Micky becomes the president. Not because of his last name, because he proved himself. Employees know he understands the business. He worked alongside of them, earned their trust, leadership from experience. When Ted Arison stepped back, Micky becomes CEO. Now he's fully in charge. Time to make his mark. The strategy, growth through acquisitions, buy competitors, consolidate the industry, people. Build the largest cruise company in the world. The acquisition spree begins. Holland America line in 1989. Coastal Cruises in 1997. Cunard Line in 1998. Princess Cruises in 2003. Each one in a major deal. Billions of dollars. Carnival becomes a conglomerate. Micky's strategy is brilliant. Keep brands separate. Different personalities for different customers. Carnival for families. Princess for couples. Cunard for luxury, Holland America for older travelers, one company, multiple identities. Carnival becomes massive, over 100 ships across multiple brands, millions of passengers per year, the world's largest cruise operator. Competitors can't keep up. Micky's built an empire. Oh, but my goodness, let's build an empire, people, because you know what? In 1995, Micky buys the Miami Heat. Yes, people, the NBA franchise. Other passion becomes, besides cruising, brings in championship culture, wins titles in 2006, 12, and 13, becomes beloved owner, two empires, sports and free. I like that. Now, today, Micky's worth $7.6 billion, chairman of Carnival Corporation, owner of Miami Heat, built on the foundation his father started, earned through his own work, and vision. The reservation agent became a module. He transformed, Steve, get this, cruising into mainstream vacation. Before cruises were light, elite, expensive, formal, stuffy, Mickey made them accessible, fun, attract local families, democraticize the industry, privilege. Doesn't mean automatic success. Mickey could have demanded a VP title at 22. Instead, he answered phones on at $6 an hour, learned operations, built relationships. When he finally led, people followed because he understood their work credibility comes from doing, not being. Again, like I said before, you got the Mardi Gras, his kids, and now that's where you have that particular story. All right, there you go. You have the Mardi Gras Steve, you have the Miami Heat, you have the NBA, and of course you have Pat Riley, who's obviously taking over the basketball business. What are your thoughts about what Mickey did?
Hey, that's the way to do it, right? I mean, he came from money, right? Comes from money, but he wasn't born with the silver spoon proverbially in his mouth.
Right.
His dad had him start off at the bottom, so he learned the business, and that is so invaluable for a guy who makes it all the way to the top and builds a huge company, because he knows that his business is it's built by and it's run by the ordinary average Joes and Janes, right? And those are the people that make or break your company. So he knows how to treat his employees because he was one of them. He knows what makes them tick,
right?
And it shows. Okay, that's why he's so successful. And we were on Carnival Cruise Line this year. We went on a 10-day cruise at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. All the amenities were top notch. The food was fantastic. The staff was great. And there was like 7,000 or 8,000 people on this ship. It was a huge.
Wow. 8,000 on the ship? Really? That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a
lot. It was insane, right? Because when we would get to a port, the waiting line to get off onto the pier, we would just sit upstairs, on the deck and wait till it started to calm down a little bit. Then we'd go, because we made a bunch of stops in the Caribbean and we had such a blast. But Carnival Cruise Line, such a great line. And of course, our friends who we went with, they're big time gamblers. So they've been traveling with Carnival for years, so they get all kinds of perks and comps and whatnot. So, they were in the casino a lot, and except with a report. So they got my son into that. Now he's like a, Joe Gambler now too. So, but good for Mickey, right?
Yeah.
Buys the Miami Heat. Now he's an owner of a sports franchise. He's an owner of a huge cruise line. I mean, does life get any better than that?
No. Hey, listen, Steve, we don't have to beat politics to death here on these shows. We could talk about travel and territory. This isn't a show. This show is based on current events, everybody, not just us beating up politics. I don't like talking politics. I talk current events. I want to make sure that people understand the nature of this show, and that's the approach I try to take tonight by bringing Mickey Arison. We talk about Apple, great business there, and Norway. These are places that you go, and another place that people go. Okay, here's another incredible story. We have about 20 minutes left to go in the show, and obviously we'll have Sports Wrap coming up afterwards. But Sweden becomes the first country to let doctors prescribe travel for well-being, stress, burnout, mental health challenges. Look at this. Now we got Sweden into the act.
Now, who did this?
Sweden.
Good for the Swedes.
Yeah, Sweden becomes
that's
the
another
first
place.
country people to let doctors prescribe travel for well-being.
That's another place.
Unbelievable.
That's another place I'd like to visit. All the blonde-haired women there. So, the Swedish blonde. That's like the big thing, right? No, but good for the. I mean, it makes sense. I believe that sometimes, like I'm here to tell you. I mean, been working hard my whole life. I hadn't had a vacation in probably 8 to 10 years, and to get away this Christmas, that to me was therapy, and I applaud the Swedes for doing that, because I think that it's legitimate therapy, especially when you live in a high stress world and you have a high stress job. Definitely, I'm all on board with that. Good for
a week ago, what did we have? We have something where they allow you, if you quit your job, you get free drinks. And now we're talking about Sweden going out there prescribing. I mean, my goodness, it doesn't get any better on the Motor City Madmouth than that. Sometimes people get
now, if the Swedes work it into where you get free drinks and a vacation, hey, then sign me up, Coach.
Well, no. What we're going to do, if that's the case, you have your wife and your kid, and you and Candy and I are going to go there. That's all. Because after all, we need therapy. I mean, let's face the reality. We can go out there and
we need therapy.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, think about it. Travel for well-being, stress, burnout, for doctors prescribing travel. My gosh, I'll take that prescription all day long instead of the 9 million ones I have to deal with my medical issues. No. All right. Well, let's go. We're going to go to the Yukon, people, because it's bigger than California and it has fewer than 50,000 people coming, 482,443 square kilometers, 186,272 square miles. The Yukon and California in the same sentence. Really? Seriously? Really, Steve?
Hey, Yukon is
we're not talking the basketball team Yukon. We're talking Yukon. Yukon. Okay.
Oh.
I knew I'd catch on that one. Yukon.
Yes.
Bigger than California. Connecticut would be bigger than Fort Lauderdale. Oh, I know.
Yeah. Orlando might be bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Hey, that is some beautiful place, right? That's again, I want to go up there and see the grizzly bears. Sign me up, Coach. Let's go to Yukon.
That's it, man. I swear, if you tell me it's bigger than California and it's fewer than 50,000 people, well, that's okay. When you come on the show, Steve, when you tell me when we're off camera, I learn a lot. I look forward to the show every week. I got to make sure you are interested to stay on when I keep coming up with all this kind of crazy stuff. It really is what it is. So, yeah, again, fewer than 50,000 people covering 482,443 square miles. It's not too bad, is it? Now I have to put that on our bucket list. Candy, put Yukon on the bucket list, okay? And see if we can get up there. She'll do that. Our crack statistician and producer will do that, okay? Great stuff. Well, you know what? We're going to go to Boston. This one's a very important topic. I want to make sure we get out there today. And according to the Facebook page of Marley Werda, an exceptional, dynamic, talented young sports reporter who works for Boston's independent station Channel 7, Patriots quarterback Drake May shaved his head to support Boston Children's Hospital. Let me tell you a little something about Werda. Okay, I'm in touch with her through Facebook as well as other places. I'm always fascinated by young females who have paid their dues in the industry. She starts off in Champaign, Illinois, made her way to Grand Rapids, and now she's in Boston working for an independent station, obviously not the bigger one, but she breaks this story on her Facebook page. And if you've ever seen this young lady and some of her stuff, she's one of the most unbelievable up-and-coming reporters out there. And I can tell you right now, within 5 years, this young lady is going to be seeing some national networks outside of Boston. Check out Marley Werda, MarleeWierda. So there you go, somebody in Boston to look for. Steve, what are your thoughts about Werda breaking the story about Drake May and the Boston Children's Hospital?
Well, this is one story I knew about before coming on the show. I did read her story about that, and I think it's great. Look, Drake May he's a down to earth, he's a very humble young man. His wife, it's been his girlfriend since junior high school. So, he's just a good down to earth guy. And when I read the story, I was like, I think that's awesome. He shaved his head, for the Boston Children's Hospital. they do this thing every year. They've gotten a lot of Boston sports stars to buy in through the years, and I was so glad to see Drake May do that because he's already a kind of an icon up there in the Boston area, being with the Patriots, and to see him do that, I thought was really great, and that was a great story by her, and it was a great get, right, because she was able to, be the first one on top of that, and I learned about some of the sports stars one year because the guys that were actually doing the haircuts for the sports stars were friends of mine. Right. That was my barber. So he was like, hey, we got Zdeno Chara coming in today and Gronkowski and somebody else. So,
Yeah, I mean, Drake May got sacked 21 times last year.
That's a great thing. And you're right. She's an up-and-comer.
You're cutting out, Steve. Go ahead. I think you're freezing up, man. All right, now he's back. Okay, what were you talking about, Marley? Yeah, this young lady is just absolutely unbelievable. I watch her stuff all the time, and I love what she puts into her effort and the energy that she does. She's certainly one of those up and comers that will be on the network. Go ahead. What were your final thoughts about Marley Werda?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're having a few technical problems. Let's see if we'll be on. Obviously, this is the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. My name is Scott Morganoff. Please be joined by Steve Ballestori, my co-host as well. Having a good show here tonight. We're looking forward to doing sports wrapping a little bit as well. And now we have Steve back in the studio. So, Steve, okay, now that you're back in here, somewhere in here, okay. There we see. Now I'm seeing double. We'll see which one actually turns out. People, here's Steve, as Johnny Carson would say. All right, Steve. Okay, go ahead. Let's some final thoughts on Werda as well as the information she broke. Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Steve.
Scott, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right. Yeah, now I can see you moving. Yeah, I can hear you. I see you moving around a little bit. How you doing now? Is that better? Okay, good. So give me some final thoughts about Werda herself, and then the story, and then we have a few more we'll want to get to.
Yeah, I think that was it was a great get by her, being the first to post that. And I think she is up and coming. We'll probably be reading about her nationally in a couple of years. She'll be breaking major sports stories for a major outlet. But hey, she's doing well for herself.
Yeah, she's a good friend of mine. I always track young media people in our industry, and this young lady has an incredibly bright future. Let's continue the narrative as we get ready to talk about the NCAA. Each big last natty was back in 2000 when Tom Izzo went ahead and took care of it. Sorts of draft games. Obviously, the Big Ten has a chance to go out there and snap that streak with Michigan and Illinois with a 50% chance of snapping that drought that dates back to 2000. You think the Big Ten can pull out of the Final Four, finally breaking that? Maybe another Michigan team could do it. Got Illinois, but you got a 50% shot at it. Steve? Steve, can you hear me? Steve? More technical problems. I know he's moving around there a little bit. Candy, do you think they're going to break out of it?
I'm sorry, Scott. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Candy? Can you hear us
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about...
We got a bad connection here.
That's okay. That happens. That's only technology. We're all used to the insanity of it. But, Big Ten has a 50% chance of breaking that drought, okay, with Michigan and Illinois. You think they have a legitimate shot? They're going to have some tough opponents with Arizona and Connecticut in the Final Four and Indianapolis.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Candy, can you see if he can hear you better?
Steve, can you hear me? So Scott was talking about March Madness and how the Big Ten is going to be represented 50% because of Illinois and Michigan being in there. And when was the last time they did that, Scott? It's been a while.
2000.
Since 2000, this is the first time since 2000 that's happened. Your thoughts on the Final Four for March Madness?
Okay, yeah, look, I'm glad to see UConn in it. They're in it every year. Those are the guys I'm rooting for, and on both sides of the ball, right? So, I'm showing my Northeast bias a little bit there, right?
Well, you should, and I'm a Midwestern guy. Well, I have to show for U of M, right?
Yeah.
Go Wolves. All right, well, it's time. The Eagles' defensive line coach Clint Hurt was a head coach at the Senior Bowl this year. Many of the prospects at the NFL Combine spoke very highly of him. What do you know of Clint Hurt as a coach, Steve?
I just from what I've read, I don't know a lot about him, but yeah, I've read that he's a really good coach, and I'd like to see guys like him get a shot at becoming a defensive coordinator, maybe even a head coach down the road.
Yeah, I got to know him over at the Senior Bowl, and I asked him a couple questions. Really a super class guy, and you can see how much the players really liked him for sure. Two more topics we're going to get to. There are reports out there that claim Israel strike hit North Korean embassy in Tehran. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm sorry, Scott. We
That's
have
okay,
a terrible
Steve.
connection tonight.
Not a big deal. I'll go over it again.
Breaking up again. I know you started to say that.
Yeah, the reports
at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, well, we talked about Senior Bowl. Any final thoughts on Clint Hurt? Steve. All right. Candy.
So I'm here. Senior Bowl was an awesome experience, and I thought that was a really good place to be. This was our first time there, so I had never been to the Senior Bowl. I thought it was an excellent experience all around.
Okay. Well, wait for Steve to get back in. And there's Steve. We'll get him back in here again. All right, Steve, we'll get you there. We're only a couple of topics, no big deal. So, yeah, some thoughts about Clint Hurt. My feelings with him were nothing but positive.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I always like to hear that, guys are good people when you meet them. And, I've met quite a few. And it's always such a nice thing when you meet a coach that, he has a good reputation as a good coach, and you meet them and they turn out to be good people. I mean, I remember meeting Sean Payton, and he made me laugh. I thought he was a great dude, but I'm glad to hear that. I mean, look, that's one of the things I would like to attend in the future is the Senior Bowl. I would love to go down there and talk with some of the young players that are coming in. I've never been, and that's one of the things I want. Definitely.
The place you got to go. They treated us well. Maybe we can both go together. All right. The reports that claim Israel had a strike hit against North Korean embassy in Tehran. Is that something to be concerned about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It's definitely something to be concerned about going forward. I mean, anything that, when you're talking about things like that, it's always something to be concerned about.
Okay. And our final topic of the night, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Israel drew U.S. into a war with Iran. Iran foreign minister accused U.S. of entering a war of choice on Israel's behalf. So your final thoughts on Marco Rubio being drawn
Right.
into the
Well,
war with
look,
Iran?
I look at it. The Israelis obviously were going to strike. I mean, they live at the edge of the tip of the spear, I guess you could say, right? And they were concerned about Iran's nuclear capability. They were concerned about their missiles, and with justification, as we're seeing what's going on. Did they get the U.S. involved? Yeah, but I think we would have been getting involved anyway. It just the timing was speeded up. But that had to do with the first night or the first day, I guess you could say, of the current air campaign. The Israelis and U.S. intelligence found out that Iranian leadership decided they were going to have a Saturday morning, sit down, not in a protected bunker, but above ground, and they decided they were going to take them all out. So, did they get us involved? Yeah, to a degree, but I think we would have been involved anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. The reason why I agree with you is Donald Trump has had it in for Iran anyways for a while. So yes, I agree with what they're saying, but I also believe that President Trump was on the mission to wipe them out anyhow and take care of business 46 years ago. And Rubio, well, I can't disagree with what he's saying. So great show tonight, Motor City Mad Mouse Show. We'll do it again next Wednesday at its regular time at 8. No big deal. I enjoy doing Thursday night shows too, because I have 3 of them tonight, including this one. But tonight was a good show in a sense because they had a chance to go talk about a success story with Micky, Arison. We talked about Apple, Norway, and Yukon, as well as Iceland. So we decided to have some frequent flyers on this edition of the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. Any final thoughts before we call it night? And the final thought you should have is how they can get a hold of you as well.
Yes, you can get a hold of me on Twitter at SteveB7SFG. Same with Instagram and Facebook at Steve Ballister. You can find me on PatsFans.com. I do a podcast there called Patriots No Huddle. I write for them. I have been. This is be my 16th season coming up. And I also am a senior defense editor for the National Security Journal. And, I've been doing a lot of writing, as you can imagine, about what's going on in Iran with the air campaign against the Iranian regime there. So it keeps me, up to date on everything that's going on.
We'll have a lot more on the war in Iran next week on the Motor City Man Mouse Show. We're hoping to bring another young lady on by the name of Molly Murphy, who I had on yesterday's edition of Motor City Man Mouse Show. She talks about horses. She's a dynamic young lady as well. So, so Candy, why don't you come in for a quick station break? Just, Sport Traffic coming up at the top of the hour. Go ahead, Candy, quick station break. Great job, Steve. I knew we'd make it through. Then again, I never doubt you anyways, my friend.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by your host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the media business and how it has evolved. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. There also is an audio book. So if you're into listening to books, you can pick this one up wherever you get your audio book. As far as podcasts, if you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, be a sponsor, or be on a show, just email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our channel. I honestly don't know what you are waiting for. It's the best channel out there. So hit that subscribe button. And then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Monday nights is baseball night. Tuesday nights is football night. Wednesday nights, Scott's got anything goes. And I mean literally anything goes. And then tonight, he's doing the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. Typically does it on Wednesdays, but he's doing So you never know what he's got in his bag of tricks for this show. And then sports wrap. It's either hockey or soccer, and tonight it's hockey. And then cheer up, come on over to the country club. With that being said, passing it back to you, Scott.
All right, well, that does conclude this edition of Motor City Man Mouse Show. We'll be on in regular time Wednesday night, and if need be, Thursday, depending on what potential issue goes on. I like this time as a backup anyway. But, Steve, what are your thoughts on this overall show as we get ready to wrap it up tonight?
Well, it was always like it always is. It's a lot of fun. And my little partner here, he heard you talking about Norway. His name is Thor. So that's why he was, he had to be sitting in my lap tonight. So he must have realized we were talking about his homeland.
Well, if I ever get another pet, I'll have to name it Norway or Iceland. I don't know. I don't know how many more pets I got left. I got fucking Boots and that does it there. So, meanwhile, Sports Wrap is coming up in a few minutes. Steve, glad to have you on this Thursday night. We'll do it again Tuesday night when you're on Inside the Pigskin, and then we'll bounce back on Wednesday. All right, my friend? Thank you very much for doing this. And I promise I got plenty more in my bag of tricks for next week. And I know you know it, right, Mr. Ballesteri?
Absolutely, man. I'll be here.
You got it. That does it for us here on Motor City Man Mouse Show. Sports Wrap is coming up next. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye now.